Win a Pageant, episode 78. I created this step-by-step process after training thousands of women across the U.S. to win. Now you can have access to these winning strategies when you join me every Wednesday. Let's win a pageant. Hey girl, welcome to another episode of the Win a Pageant podcast. I'm your coach, Alicia Darby. Now, a few weeks ago, I was watching my church's live stream of a sermon. The pastor started by holding out a $20 bill and inviting anyone to come and get it. Now, a few people did stand up, but with a whopping 500 people that were at that service, why didn't 500 people stand up to go get that $20 bill? Well, as you can imagine, it's probably because they either thought that maybe somebody else would get there before them, and so then their efforts would be wasted, or maybe they thought that they would look greedy or rude or poor, and that they didn't want to be judged. Maybe it was because they thought that it was a total joke and that when they got up there, the pastor maybe wouldn't give it to them after all, and so then they'd feel silly for even running up. Or it could be that it just felt like more trouble than it's worth, that $20 wasn't enough to really get out of their seats and get all the way to the front of the church and grab that $20 bill out of the pastor's hands. Well, somebody did. In fact, several people jumped up and somebody grabbed it first and got $20. And so while everyone was invited to go get the money, a few people actually moved. One of those people went home $20 richer that night. Now, his sermon talked about how God wants to give us stuff, right? God is really seeking to bless us. He is giving handouts left and right, but you still got to go and get it. And so in his sermon, he was discussing how just vital it is to get off of your bums. We're not going to have a magic fairy come and, deliver the $20 bill to your hands, he said, nor are we going to just be able to sit there and pray our way into it. You've got to do some work. So today, I want to talk with you about the difference between ability to have what you want and a willingness to go and get it. Now, believe it or not, we learned the difference between ability and willingness when we were kids. And somebody thought up the wisecrack about, hey, can you hand me the salt and pepper? And somebody says, well, I could, but I'm not going to, right? You've heard that before. Kids do that to each other constantly, or maybe they do it to their parents oftentimes, like, hey, can you go clean your room? Oh, I could, but I'm not going to. What? Okay, so that's the difference between ability and willingness. Willing is the desire to take action in a certain direction, usually by leaving the comfort of a different direction. And ability is just only having the access to the resources that you need to achieve it. Okay, so ability has to come first. You've got to have access to the resources and opportunity. Willingness is the desire to move. So I want to give you a very simple example, and that is if you are able to walk, that does not always mean that you are going to be walking around all over the place, never having a seat, okay? And it also doesn't mean that if you are sitting comfortably and you get really thirsty, that you are not willing to stand up from that really comfortable place to go get a drink of water. And if somebody else stands up, you might say, hey, can you go grab me a drink of water? Because it's like you're not willing, you don't want the water so badly that you're willing to stand up for it. Okay, that's the difference between the ability to do something and the willingness to do it. Now, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm just breaking it down so that we can apply this to your pageant life. Many people actually live their entire lives waiting around for opportunities to come to them rather than reaching out and taking them for themselves. So imagine if you sat on your couch waiting for a glass of water to really quench your thirst. Like you're sitting there really, really thirsty and you're like, well, maybe a magic fairy will come bring me a glass of water. Well, maybe my next door neighbor will think, oh, I haven't heard from her in a while. I'm going to run over and bring her a glass of water. Maybe somebody else in the room will get up first. Maybe I just magically won't be thirsty anymore, right? We do this to ourselves. I'm making a joke out of it, but it's true that we sit here and envision all these magical things instead of just standing up, walking up there, and getting yourself your own glass of water. Okay? Now this concept is not at all complex, but it's also not easy. You've heard it said before that if it were easy, everyone would be doing it, okay? So the easy things in life are usually pretty easy to find somebody that's willing to do them. The fun things in life, there's all kinds of people that are willing to do those things. But the things that are most difficult, the things that are the hardest to do, it's really hard to find somebody that's willing to meet their ability and actually make it happen. This is where we separate the cream at the top from the soppy milk at the bottom, okay? That is what I want for you. I want you to be the creme de la creme, okay? There is no reason that you should be living a crappy life, okay? I want you to be rocking and rolling, firing on all cylinders, and know how to achieve your goals, okay? That is what this is all about. We're going to get you willing and able. Okay, so first thing we're going to do. Number one is I want you to write down your goal. Now, if you're driving or you're jogging or something like that and it's dangerous to write this down right this second, just think about it. I want you to visualize it. Put it in there. Step number two is I want you to write the top 3 things that are getting in the way of you and that goal that you can actually control. Okay, so what makes you unable to achieve that goal? And then the third thing that we're going to do is actually ask yourself if you are willing to make the changes that are necessary in order to actually achieve that goal. Now, of course, if you aren't, then you're never going to achieve that goal. So you need a new goal. But if you are, then you make an action plan to get where you want to go. Let me give you an example. The easiest, of course, is, you've heard it before, examples of losing weight. And it's something that we can all relate to. So let's say your goal is to lose weight, and things that are getting in your way might be, maybe you just love food so much and you're like, but I love my sugary foods and I love my, chocolate cakes and all my gluten and this diet soda I have to have 3 times a day. Okay. So your love of food might be the thing that is keeping you where you're at instead of helping you reach your goal. Another one could be that you don't have access to a gym. Maybe you're like, I really would love to work out, but I can't because I don't have a gym in my area. Okay, so those 2 things are very common. And the third could simply be you just don't have energy. Like you're like, at the end of the day, I am so exhausted that to even think about going to work out or something like that, it's like, there's no way. I'm just unable to do it. Okay. Now you can see that these are the excuses that we tell ourselves. And I'm sure you can relate to similar situations where we have a whole laundry list of all the things that are keeping us from that goal. It's really psychologically, it's self-preservation. We want to stay in a place of comfort because it's safety for our bodies and our minds. So, biologically, our bodies would rather us just stay safe, stay in one space, don't change anything because that could be, put you into a tizzy. So your body's wanting you to stay where you're at. But of course, you are designed for so much more than that. So don't let the lie of what your body's trying to tell you keep you down. Okay? So step number 1 is, okay, what's our goal? We're going to lose weight. Step number 2 is what's getting in the way. In this case, I'm giving you the examples of your love of food, lack of gym access, and then just low energy. So you got to ask yourself, are you able to change those 3 things? Are you able to shift your mindset around food? Well, yes, you are. Is it going to be hard? Absolutely. Okay. But are you able to do it? Yes. Number 2, no gym access. Well, we know there are a zillion exercises you can do from your couch. If you've got YouTube, there are tons of things on there that you could be. You could still get around that and do things at your home or at your office at work if you had to. Okay. So that's thing number 2. Thing number 3 is the low energy. Okay, well, what are we going to do about that? Well, that as soon as you start working out, maybe the first 3 days you get really sleepy. But then after that, you are going to have energy through the roof. That's really all the longer it takes, those 3 adjustment days. And then after that, you're going to be golden. Okay, so now you've got to ask yourself, are you willing to change your food habits? Because that's going to be hard. Are you willing to work out in your home and figure that out and find the stations that you need to watch or the YouTube videos that you need to follow? Are you willing to do that? And then finally, are you willing to give those first few days a try just to see how it goes? Now, if you are willing, go for it, because then you will achieve your goal. But if you're not willing, don't expect to be losing any weight. Okay, the magic fairy's not going to bring you a little magic silver bullet pill that you're going to swallow and just instantly have weight loss. Okay, so this is how it's done. Number 2 example for you, real life example, is that let's say that you want a job that pays you $100,000 a year. You're like, I just want a job that's going to be paying me bank, Well, what's in the way of you getting that job? Well, the first thing could be education. It could be that you need to have a master's degree, or you need to at least have a doctoral degree to even think about getting this type of job, okay, potentially. It could be that you need to move to a big city. Maybe those types of jobs in your industry are really only found in major cities, so you might have to move. Third, maybe your network of people isn't big enough to get you into that job. So those 3 things are things that are keeping you from it, okay? Those are the things that are making you unable to achieve that goal. Well, guess what? You can change all 3 of those. You could go back to school, you could move to a big city, and you could build a network of people. But are you willing to give up your finances to get a better education? Are you willing to move away from your family in the city and friends and people you all know? Are you willing to break the ice with a few people to really establish a relationship and a new network? The question is not, can you? The question is, will you? We are all able to achieve our goal. God would not give you a dream if you were not able to achieve it, but it's up to you to move the will forward. Okay, so I know that your goal is to win your pageant. What is keeping you from winning your pageant? Is it that you don't know what to change? Maybe you're like, I just keep doing these pageants over and over. I have no clue what I'm supposed to actually change. Is it that you feel like you just don't have enough money for the right wardrobe? Or could it be that you don't have enough time to make the appearances or build out your platform? Maybe you just don't even know the direction you're supposed to head in. You can get around all of those. You absolutely are able. You can. But are you willing to save your money, to get a great wardrobe? Are you willing to cut back in the areas so that you have enough when it comes to pageant time? Are you willing to start promoting your platform? Are you willing to take regular and consistent action to get where you want to go with your platform? Are you willing to find the resources that are going to help you know, a coach or a mentor that can help you understand what you need to change? And are you willing to listen to them in order to reach your goal? The question is not can you, it's will you. So now it's your turn. I want you to go write down the things that are getting in the way of you reaching your ultimate goal. Then ask yourself if you are willing to overcome these. Remember, it's not can you win your pageant, it's will you make the changes necessary to actually reach that goal. And if you are absolutely willing, then start immediately, because that, my dear, is how you win a pageant. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're looking for more resources to help you win, visit winapageant.com. And I will see you next Win a Pageant Wednesday. Hey there, I'm Alicia Darby, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching that last video. If you totally loved it and got something from it, would you just click subscribe right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel? Hey, I am here for you, and I've got so many more trainings and videos for you. In fact, this one would be a really great one to watch next. Or if that topic doesn't interest you, then try this one. It's my most recent video training. So I think both of these would be really great for you. Thank you again so much for subscribing. I am honored to be your coach. I'll see you again soon.